Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the fray, and the home of the brave.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Gary Rosenberg, your host of the Freedom Network, right here back with you again. Yes, we weren't here last week. I was out of town. I'm sorry, but I'm back in action. We'll be here this week, next week, and for most weeks thereafter. Sometimes things come up, things happen. What can you do? But in any event, I'm happy to be back with everybody. Lots going on out there. I mean, the news is hopping. There's things happening. There's things locally, statewide, nationally, internationally. It's all over the place. So it's something that we have just tons of stuff and just such a short time to go through it all. As always, you can get involved any topic, anytime. More than welcome, especially tonight. We are going to go wide open, talk about 1.5 million different things, or maybe we'll get stuck on one. I don't know. You help me control it. You get involved. Send your emails in, timorgary@gmail.com. That's how you get right in, right now, happening. It's right here in front of me. You would just be communicating right here with me live. You can also, if you'd like to, pick up the telephone, dial 508-266-0990. That also will get you right onto the telephone and right here with us on the Freedom Network. If you'd like to sit back and relax and just watch and listen, of course, that's fine, but we do love it when you get involved, and so many of you do. We try to highlight a few emails, and we'll do so here today. We get them all the time, and you can email 24/7. We reply to all of them. Sometimes it may take a minute or two, a day, maybe two, but we'll get to you. We will get back to you, and sometimes we highlight some that we get right here on the program. We like to take a few. We also have groups and pages on Facebook. You can just send an email. It's easier than trying to give you links and all that kind of stuff here and now. Just send an email with the request, and I'll just simply send you back a link. Very easy. Many people have done it. We hope that you do as well. All right, some emails to highlight. Let's see here. We've got Jimmy. Jimmy's emailing in. A lot of Jimmys in the world. I will tell you, that's a very popular name. We get a lot of emails. I have friends, family. It seems like at least in every group or cross-section there's going to be a Jimmy. Anyway, Jimmy says, hey, Gary, great talk on guns. Keep it up. It's right. You own this issue and love to hear you talk about it. Well, thanks, Jimmy. I like to talk about it myself. I do. The sun came up. Hey, I like to do it myself. I like to talk about guns. We will have our gun shows peppered in, as we like to call them. Yeah, we're pro Second Amendment. We're reasonable and good people here at the Freedom Network. But I'll tell you something. We talk a lot about it because it's the most important one. Without that, your other rights would fall away very, very fast, and that's the truth. Now, Google it if you want, all right? But I believe, oh man, let me see, about 9,000 people were murdered. Now let me get some info. I see now I've got the computer. The problem is with the touchscreen, I touch the wrong things. Sometimes my email comes, then it goes away. So I have a backup. I have a backup email right here. So don't worry about that. And also, what's interesting is I hit a button just before we came on the air, and I completely lost the content for the program. So as I'm trying to go paperless, because here at the Freedom Network, we really do care about the environment, and we don't want to waste needless paper when I can put it all right here on this nifty little device. I could even put it on this littler nifty device here. That's where we have our backup emails always, so they're available to you at all times. Hillary Clinton can't. She can't work this equipment, but I can. I can do it. Smoothly, no, but I can do it. Anyway, Google if you want, but it's about 9,000. I'm not going to try to type in here, but about 9,000 people, maybe a little bit less, were murdered with a gun last year, with last year's data, or the most recent data that we can get. And if you Google it, it's going to be somewhere around there. Now, that's murdered. It's not including accidents. It's not including suicide, which, of course, unfortunately, the number one method of suicide is with a gun. And that's what swells that number up to 20, 30,000 people. Now, of course, we feel for these people, these 9,000 people, and of course, all of their families and friends. It's horrific what we have seen going on. It really and truly is, and there's no other way to describe it. It's awful, it's tragic, and it should not happen. It really shouldn't happen. You know, people should be responsible, but unfortunately, people aren't, and there's bad people in the world, and that's that's the result of it. In a society like we have, that's the result of the Second Amendment. 9,000 people are murdered with guns a year or somewhere in that area. Now, conversely, I can't support, though, curbing a right, a federal right, mind you, and we've talked about this many times. This is not a big states' rights issue, folks. This is a federally guaranteed right, much like freedom of speech is. The state can't decide that you're not going to have freedom of speech or we're going to limit it or any of that. We got into it last week. We don't have to get back into it. But I'm not going to support curbing that right because of 9,000 people killed in a country of 320 million people. And, of course, knowing that the Second Amendment is the glue that really keeps this all together, we have to fight for it. And it's sad that we have to fight for it. It really is sad. Anyway, all right, my Freedom Network cup, trying to make some of these available to the general public. Where could I could put it right there, and then you can see it better. Isn't that nice? I thought it was nice. Paul, checking in. Paul, thank you. Gary, great show. Keep it up, and thanks for always supporting the vets. We love the show, Paul. Thank you for your service. You're a frequent emailer. We talk often. And thank you for your service. Everybody out there that did something that they felt was bigger than them, whatever reasons. You can argue the politics of this stuff all you want, folks, but at the end of the day, somebody that is willing and believes in their mind that they're going out and they're going to do what they need to do and they're going to fight what they're doing, okay, is not what necessarily the government is doing. What they're doing, you got to stop and you got to pause on that. You just have to do it. I believe you have to do it. So Paul, thanks for being out there. Jason says, Gary, I told you Obama would accomplish something. He ended the Cold War with Cuba. Jason, you're right. Total Reagan status. Ha ha ha. Gary told you he would accomplish great things. Jason, you're absolutely right. Obama has ended the Cold War with Cuba. Let us all rejoice. We'll talk about that in a little while. Debbie checks in. Gary, you're really funny online. I watch many posts with you in them. You've got to get into some of these posts, folks. You've got to get into the wild world of these Facebook posts because they can be hysterical. And you can be hysterical. What's great is now I could have a real conversation. You'd know when I was laughing, when I was smiling, when I wasn't. But what's funny is the typed word is a lot different. People take you seriously. They think that you're not, you're typing something, you're smiling, but people don't know that. They get your little emblem on Facebook. Mine is a symbol that says gone, and it's the Obama symbol, and it gives, the anyway, you got to get involved because it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, Debbie goes on to say, I watch many posts with you in them. A few of the same people try so hard but fail to prove their points. They're all over the place. It's funny. I look for them all the time. Let's see. She goes on to say they cannot even answer simple questions. I love it when you ask them questions and they just move back on. Do they know how they look? Debbie, I don't think that they know how they look. There's lots of good people on all sides of these issues, and I debate lots of people on a daily basis. Some on my friends, some in our groups, and others just out there, if you will, all over the World Wide Web, not on Facebook, but even in blogs and in other places as well. We're all over the place. We're big. It's interesting. There are lots of good people on both sides, and I have fun debating them, and that's for sure. Join in, send an email, get us the links to the groups, and I'll get you the links to the groups, and you can join in, and you can comment, and a lot of people like to read. I have found that a lot of people like to read, and it's interesting. I get a lot of messages through the Facebook Messenger thing, and it's really funny. People that just they don't want to comment or they don't know the person. Or what's really funny. This is what's really funny, folks. And I always keep things quiet, like I do with your emails. You want to email me anonymously and have your name not used; it'll never be used. We've proven that time and time again over the years here and elsewhere. But what's really funny is when I get the messages from people that know the person and they say, "Look, blah 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 blah, so and so is whatever." I can't believe this is this, and they start to debate it like on the side because they don't want to offend the person that's their friend. See, when it comes to politics, I'm not looking to do anything. Certainly not looking to make friends, appease anybody, or do anything like that. I have no interest in being on every side of every issue, none whatsoever. Stand up, take a position, and own it, and at least that's respectable. I have several, probably about 20 people that I regularly am engaging and debating online. And it's so funny because what I don't do, and I should, but I don't because I'm a jerk, but I'm not a total jerk, I should tag them in to each other's posts. And the reason is because they say almost the exact same thing. And it's hysterical. And when you tell them that, they say, what are you talking about, and all this kind of stuff. And it's all over the place. Some people that I know, some people, and most of them that I don't know, to be quite honest with you. But it's just funny. It's amusing. And yes, I do feel in some cases that the online goes a little overboard, and usually it's because people can't see that you're smiling, like I said, or that you're, so whatever it is what it is. But I love it, and I ain't going anywhere. My answer is always, at the end of the day, if you don't like my comments, if you don't like my posts on Facebook or any of that, you don't have to friend me on them. Or you could just not see my stuff. You can hide me if you want to just be able to contact me because we're old friends or something like that. That's fine. See, that's what it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference to me when it comes to politics. It's just I don't have this this personal investment into it. To me, there's some facts, there's common sense, there's a constitution. You can fit it into a book the size of an index card, maybe a little bit bigger, and it wouldn't be much thicker than that. I've shown it to you here online, on TV, and I've shown it online. We simply have a path to follow to freedom, and we choose not to. And when we don't, I call it out. And I do it all the time, and I'm not going to stop doing it. That's what I do. To me, it is what it is, as my late grandfather used to say, rest his soul. All right, a few observations. Lots of people are talking about this Apple versus the I'll try that again. Lots of people are talking about the Apple versus FBI story. This has really become a saga. This is really, everybody's sinking their teeth into this thing. Folks, this is a joke. I hope you realize that this is a joke. Let's take a look at it for a second, okay? Let's just look at it. First, do you believe, do you believe in any way, shape, or form, for even 7 seconds, that the reality is that the U.S. government cannot get into your iPhone? Do you really think that? Is this what you've been led to believe by the mainstream media and others? Let me ask you a question. I got to ask you a question. Hang on a second. I got an email coming in here. Hang on one second. Okay, this one comes anonymous. See, every time I mention it, I tell you, peeps, you don't have to worry about it. Just say you want to be anonymous, and you'll be anonymous. I was hoping that you were going to get into this story. This is quite a story. I know there's not a lot of time to spend on it. It's funny you say that. I don't have a ton of notes on it. But in the end, I'm glad you're talking about it. Okay, well, anonymous, you don't have to be anonymous to say that. But that's okay. You can still get your views out there. You can still get them in. You can. Just email in or pick up the phone and give a phone call. That's all. So, in any event, if you really think that they can't get into your iPhone, they couldn't get into your computer, they need to go to Apple and ask them, how do we break the code? Really? You believe that? Are you for real? Are you thinking a little bit, maybe twice about it right now as we're talking about it out loud? Of course they can get into your phone. Of course they can get into your computer, folks. This was a scam. That's all this was. A typical government stupid scam. That's all it was. If you noticed, Apple floated the notion after a day or so that if there was a law compelling them to do this, then they would do it. You remember that? Of course you do. You may not want to admit it to yourself, but you do. It's out there. It's on record. Everything you can do, you can Google. I have people that email me all the time. I just Googled that. Where did you get this? Can you find the? Can you cite me a source on X, Y, or Z? You bet I can. Anything you want, any information that I have, you want to find it, I will link you to it. No problem at all. Not a secret. I want you to find it. I want you to find it. Sometimes I have to get the same story from 8 different sources just to make sense of what the heck this is really all about. Anyway, this was really an interesting story. I just cannot believe that people have been led to believe that we cannot get into, the U.S. government cannot get into an iPhone. When they floated that is when I said, what? Why would they have said that? Well, the machine goes to work. And it goes to work hard. It's talking about passing a law. What would the populace think? What would the populace think? Look, we have terrorism. We have to fight the terrorists, so we need to be able to get into your phones. Now, we can kind of through the NSA. Thank you, George, and expanded by Obama. Great job, guys. What's happened here is they take this and they float it out there. And they bet that the answer would be yes. We'll barrage them with all kinds of stuff on the media. We'll get this here cooking. And after much polling, Washington learned that the public seemed against any new laws. Yes, they polled it. Yes, you can find it. Yes, you can look it up. Email me. I'll send you the links. These aren't far out, unvalidatable types of links. This is the real world, folks. These things are going on right around you. You just refuse, in many cases, unfortunately, to look into it. When you see a ripple, something doesn't seem right, that's where you go. That's where you investigate. That's where you start to look. Then you make phone calls. And phone calls from the information is where you get the gold. That's where you get the gold. When you start to call in to campaigns, to Senate offices, things of that nature, and try to get a quote. Then when you learn what the quote is, even sometimes a no comment, if it's anything beyond that, can be very telling. Anyway, sorry, I digress. In any event, once the machine goes to work, they bet on the yes, and after all this polling, they learn, not really loving it. The people aren't loving it. So the polls were not reported on because they didn't like it. As a matter of fact, they were. And I'm going to call out CNN here. And you know what? I call out CNN all the time for bad things, but I will call out CNN for a good thing. The only place I could find it in the Fox, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, PBS, blah, 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 right? NPR, all that. PBS, is that what I said? NPR, all that kind of stuff. Well, it's children's TV, so I guess it's applicable. It is. It's mush TV. That's what it is. That's what NPR is. It's mush. It's just mush. That's all it is. It's this. That's what it is. It's the them. It's the blah. It's the let's get it out there. They're all in cahoots, folks. You tell me a news organization that's not biased. Tell me one that's not. And if you tell me BBC, I'm going to get very upset with you because I've told you 110 times I've worked closely, okay, with several people actually, but one in particular that is from England. Okay, and when I floated that and said, well, yeah, I said, you know, the BBC is pretty good because they seem a lot less biased. You know, you can get more world news and all that kind of stuff. And she looked at me and she laughed. That's what she did. She laughed. And she said, you think that that's unbiased? She said, you just think it's different, so it seems unbiased. She says BBC is as biased as CNN, is as biased as MSNBC and NBC and all of them. Anyway, I did see it there, and it was very interesting to be able to find. I couldn't see it on TV, but I was able to find it on their website. And in any event, the sales pitch didn't work. So now all of a sudden they need this out. They got to get out of this because they don't want to make this long and drawn out. So they say, you know what? Okay, actually, wait, we can get the info. We figured it out in the 11th hour, like a movie. We figured it out, and there's no need to pass any laws. Everything's fine. We got it. Don't worry. Let's fade it away. So let's get this off the front page. This was a ruse to get a law passed to further make legal the spying on Americans that we know is going on today, and it was nothing more. Folks, we go to the moon. We can fly at the speed of sound. We can fly, okay? We can fly. We can build things that you can't even imagine, robots and all kinds of things. We can control satellites from above the Earth. We could blow up the Earth if we wanted to. We've split the atom. We've mapped out the human DNA. But we can't get into an iPhone. Really? Come on, people. I'm moving on. I can't entertain it. Here. Hang on one second. Gary, this is Matt. Do you really think that, oh, you got some jumbling. There's some spell correct going on there. Send it again, because the whole thing is garbly-gook. I can't read garbly-gook, Matt. Send it back, buddy. Send it back. But I probably really do think whatever it is you're going to say if I said it. If I didn't say it, then maybe I don't think it. But if I said it, I think it, and I'll think it tomorrow, the next day, and the day after as well. On the terrorist attack, so sad, and so many people were killed. You know, in the end, no matter what you think about why these things happen, are they false flags? Are they done by the government? Are they done by terrorists? Are they done by another government? By our government? By their government? There's a million angles to it. Okay, we could do a whole show on that. I welcome your comments, but I'm just going to say that it's a sad day. It's a sad time. It's unjust. It's a very unjust time with lives lost, innocent people targeted for death. Innocent. And when I say innocent, I mean 110% innocent people that have done nothing. These people didn't do anything to the people that blew them up. And they were just targeted for death. They're not casualties of a war. They're not. This is picking a place with lots of people and trying to kill as many as you can. You know, let's take one moment. Let's take a Freedom Network pause just for a second and just kind of remember those people that were just killed for nothing. For nothing. Get your thoughts out there. If you have any, please don't be afraid to send them in on it. I have nothing back from you, my friend, so if you want to, what can I tell you? Hey, by the way, now, who was it? Was it Barry that was calling in? I want to come have coffee, Barry. I want you to email me and let me know where you have coffee so I can come and see the people that you have coffee with, where you're talking about the show and all that kind of stuff. You guys gave me a nickname. I'm going to get a plaque made up. They've named me the Commissioner of Common Sense. Love it. Thanks, Barry. Anyway, let's move on. Jeb Bush has endorsed Ted Cruz. Whoa. Hold the phone. The whole election has changed. Everything is now on the table. Ted, you can relax. You can relax. Now that you have the endorsement, you should be a shoo-in. You're all set. You've got Jeb Bush in your corner. Hey, Jeb, listen, I'm sure you're a nice guy. People are over you. Fade away. Enjoy your life. It is what it is. I'm going to use that one all night tonight. It is what it is, Jeb, and the people don't want you. They just don't want you. That's what it is, my friend. So anyway, but Ted Cruz, rest easy because, my friend, you're all set. You've now got the endorsement of Jeb Bush, and we know that that means so much. that you should just skate right on in. Skate in, my friend. Skate in. Right to the presidency. Ted Cruz, I don't dislike him. I'll vote for him if he's the nominee. I will. I'm not voting for Clinton. I'm not voting for Sanders. I won't have a worry about that because we'll talk about that too today. The Democrats will not allow that. Democrats won't allow that. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. We will. We sure will. I just want to see about him coming back. And no, he didn't come back. I'm sorry, but I couldn't read your email. But if you get it to me, I will get it back out on the air. I'll respond to it. But you wanted to know if I really thought something, and I like those kind of emails. Let's see what we got going on. We got a phone call. Let's see who it is. This is the button I'm going to hit. And good evening. You are on the Freedom Network.
Good evening, Gary, and you're definitely earning the title of Commissioner of Common Sense.
This is him. This is Barry. Barry, how are you? How's things going, my friend?
Good. I wanted to touch on a few local issues first, and then we can maybe deviate to the international front.
The floor is yours, Barry. Go.
All right, let's start off by I did testify before the FinCom the other night in support of the special, is it the Lucas CPR device?
Yep.
And I championed the cause for a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people that are supporting it, and I hopefully the FinCom and the Board of Selectmen and town government will all come out and support this $14,000 piece of equipment that would potentially save a lot of lives, which is a no-brainer to me. But
yeah, it does
kinda
seem
gets
to.
back
It
where
seems
the
to
town
be.
has close to almost $4.2 million in reserves. That it has to be a initiative by a private citizen to do this. But anyway, as long as it gets accomplished, that'd be great.
And it's good that she did, Barry, isn't it? It's good that she did. Look, she's doing a lot. That's Elizabeth that he's talking about. We'll just throw a name out there, and I believe she's been on Facebook talking about running for selectman.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we can get a few people out here on the Freedom Network, and they can talk about some of the issues that we face here. But yeah, that to me seems like a no-brainer as well. I mean, you can't always have the best of everything, but when it comes to life, right? When it comes to life, that's okay. I think we can spend the money on that.
Right.
All right, what else you got, Bear?
Okay. You're going to have to put your PF flyers on if you want to follow me to the coffee shops, but there's a lot of people that are very much concerned about this meal tax that the town is going for again. I guess this is the third time that they're going to try to go forward with the meal tax in town to be assessed, to the restaurants in town. And I think everybody can agree the restaurant business is a very challenging business. And now with all, it's not like the old days when there wasn't any malls, so there's a lot of competition. And we want to try to keep the businesses in town. And this will be the third time that they've gone for the for the meal tax, and I guess they're going to try to earmark it to something that the town needs, but which is kind of funny because the town can raise so much revenue on innovative things. They do not need this meal tax. So
Barry,
I think it might fail again.
Barry, let me ask you a question. What is the? I mean, this is what I don't understand, right? It's just, first of all, the government is constantly hungry for money. It constantly needs more.
Right.
It never doesn't need more. But who are they taxing? What restaurants do we have in this town? I know that we have the fast food places. We have Kyoto's, right, downtown, Kyoto's.
Right.
I love that place, by the way. No, they're not paying me to say it. No, they don't give me free food. But I do love their food. I think it's the best food you're going to get in town.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest with you, you've got, small businesses, things of this nature. Now, are people going to necessarily that are going down a pegs or something like that, are they going to say, well, I won't go there because there's a percent on top of it? They won't have time to go anywhere else. They're going there for lunch if they work or all that kind of stuff. It does, I guess, bring in some taxes from the outside. But you know what? I'm going this way. Thumbs down. I'm just so sick and tired of every turn, every conversation is another way to squeeze some kind of money out of the people. It aggravates me. Sorry, Barry. It's your format. Go.
Right. You're championing exactly my thoughts. And I mean, the town is getting a lot of extra revenue from all these solar projects, and again, they can do some other innovative things to generate revenue besides imposing this meals tax on, like I said, the small business community that we have in town. I mean, almost every other Board of Selectmen meeting, they're saying they want to encourage, the business in town, and this may be something that could be detrimental to them. And if the word that I'm hearing from my satellites out there, I do not think that it's going to pass, but I could be wrong. But a lot of the feedback I'm getting is people are still against it in town.
Well, we'll get a beat on that. We'll get on that on some of our local groups, and maybe get anybody, if you're running for selectman, I'd love to have your opinion on that. We know, I think there's 2 people whose seats are up, and there's one, Elizabeth, that's running. So that's 3. I don't know how all their terms work. I have no interest in knowing anything beyond what I need to know. But to be honest with you, this town politics stuff is really befuddled me in many ways. It's personal. It's gross. It's crazy. You get town managers making $100,000+ getting raises. You got businesses that are scraping by. What are you going to do? What did you want to talk about nationally?
And let me just go back just to what you're saying. I mean, and that's kind of convoluted, like you're saying that the increases in our local town government, but yet there appeared to be one of our leadership officials that was indifferent to a private citizen raising $14,000 for the life-saving equipment, while, like you said, other administrative officials are being taken care of. But
sad.
On the international front, I think NATO and our allies got to get serious about the ISIS threat. They are definitely not a JV team. They're expanding in other countries around the world, and we have to, as I think, I know sometimes you don't always agree with Trump, but his theory of, knocking out their revenue source, which is their oil, that may be something that has to be done, and hopefully they start doing that. And also they look at these other countries that are, harboring their interests, and we have to get serious on this before we've already had some smaller attacks in this nation. Is a bigger one going to be next in here? And, we have to look at this whole visa situation where you have people that can come into this country on a visa and they go unchecked. So, there's a lot of things going on, and I hope a lot of this stuff is the impetus for a good overall review of, our national defense and how things progress. And I do agree with you on the Second Amendment that you champion always on your shows. All right, I'll let somebody else call in. Hey, Gary, stay safe and stay well, and hang in there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you always. Bye now. There he goes. There he goes. He named me. This guy named me. What can I do? He gets the time he wants. Okay, on the Freedom Network, he gets the time he wants. Wow, isn't it something? He brings up some great points, and it is it's a tragedy what what happens. And I don't know. I've got like 5 emails here. Hang on. I don't know what really Barry, you're right. The fact of the matter is that it matters that we lose weapons, lose money. Thanks, Hillary. All these kinds of things, right? We lose this, and then they take and they use this to fight with. Now, you can go on either side or any side of whatever spectrum you want to go on, but at the end of the day, there are people that are doing things that are nasty and awful, and for whatever the motivation is, I don't want it done around me. And I don't. Call me selfish. So you know what? We set up a country. The world is set up as countries. We have borders. And I think that we should enforce them. Now, I know some of my friends out there don't like any of that talk, and I know others like a lot of that talk. He mentioned that I disagree with Trump on things, and I do. I look at Trump. I was on the television years back in Stoughton talking about Trump. Tim, if you're watching, I'm sure you remember, talking about Trump and how much of a crazy liberal he was and how much money he kept giving to liberals. This is a a guy that has struck a chord, and people are, quite frankly, peed off. That's what they are, and that's why they're running to that direction. And I love to see the hatred that comes out of the tolerant left for the people that do support Trump. They're not all idiots. They're not all racist. They're not all any of that. You tried that with the Tea Party. Remember when you crafted the news to make it look a certain way? We all know it because it came out. So anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, you live in La La Land and you don't think that the government can break into your phone. But in any event, this is the reality. This is that's what I mean, folks. Let's just deal with reality. Let's deal with what's happening. Folks, we have borders. Now, if you want to fight for no borders, go fight for no borders. But you don't. It's much like if you don't like a law, you don't like the Second Amendment, for example, you just don't make laws that you can't have it. There are certain things that have to happen. This is America. We have a constitution. Let's follow it. They deal with immigration. They deal with everything in that little book. If we just follow the plan, we'll be free. And to be honest with you, I'm not as concerned about the rest of the world. I love the rest of the world. Let the rest of the world be prosperous. Let them have wonderful things. Not a penny would I give any country. Not a penny where the people do not live free. Not one penny. Iran is putting its tax dollars to good work. I mean, they're building more missiles as we speak. They are making cyber attacks against the United States in our banking systems, which are complete frauds. We can get into that another time, too. I have a list of what I want to get into, and let me tell you, it's a long, long list. Let me get a couple of these emails. Gary, the Commissioner of Common Sense. I like that. That almost has a ring to it. Let's see. That was Janice. Let me scroll down. There was another one that... okay, let's see. There's about 3 of these. A lot of the same sentiment. I'll read one. It'll get you the info, I think, from the 3. This is tough to read live like this, really. You call up, I could talk to you. Okay. Gary, yes, the disgustingness that happens from these terrorists needs to stop. The other one says, Gary, terrorism is a tool of our government as well as other governments. You could definitely argue that. Gary, why don't we just blow the whole darn thing up? Well, we can't. We can't because we don't want to lower ourselves to them. Look, if people want to live under nasty regimes, if this is what they do, people in Palestine have elected Hamas. That's what they want. So have it. That's what you want, have it. I don't want it. I want to be free. That's what I want. And if you infringe on my freedom, if you come to my country and you decide that you're going to blow it up and kill people and all that stuff, I have no issues leveling the entire area you came from. I don't care. Yeah, I'm an insensitive, awful person, but you know what? My kid's life is more important. Sorry, that's reality. That's the big deal. That's what Trump voters are saying. Those that are not racist, I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what color you are. In all honesty, it really makes no damn difference to me. If you're good, you're good. If you're a jerk, you're a jerk. It's irrelevant. Doesn't matter to me. So this is where I differ with him. Do I want to say no Muslims can come to the United States of America? Of course not. Look, these are people, good people. There's lots of good people everywhere. There's a good section, a good unfortunate percentage of bad people everywhere. It's not one group, one race, one religion. It's not. That's not what it is, folks. It's not what it is. It's a minority that we are allowing to control the majority. And until we stand up and we say, enough, they will continue these types of things. So what do? You know what? I'm good. I don't need to do much. I'm done nation building and spending trillions of dollars to try to build other people's nations that don't appreciate them. They don't. They don't run with the freedom. They instill people that are just not doing what, let's say, I would want them to do. So who the hell am I to tell them what to do? Live the way you want to live, but do not think for 1 second that you will force me to live the way that you want to live, because that, my friend, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Close to 300 million guns in the United States of America. And I think the figure is, it's way under 1 million. I forget what it is, but that are owned by law enforcement. Most of the guns in this country, percentage-wise, are owned by the people. That's how the country was designed. I know, it's a shocker. And that's one of the reasons why you don't have these traditional wars. That's why people sneak up on people and do these kinds of things. That's why they do it. They're not going to be able to fight the United States toe-to-toe in the boxing ring, boom, boom, boom. Most of them aren't going to be able to do that. So they're going to chip away at different things. These people do not represent the majority of anybody. And that's where I get nervous with Trump, because he goes too far with it. He's got decent ideas, but then he lets them continue on. The thing about Trump, with all the violence that is, they're all wrong. Okay, they're all wrong. You shouldn't go to... Freedom of speech doesn't mean you get to go into the Civic Center down in Providence because there's a Trump rally and you get to disrupt his rally. It's not what freedom of speech means. It's just not what it is. Now, if he was out on the Common, out here in Northbridge, let's say, downtown, and he was having his little rally, and you wanted to go and protest it, you have every darn right to do so. There's a difference, folks. What are they doing? They're there to cause trouble. Now, Trump stands up there and incites violence. He has said, you see someone else like that, beat them up or hit them or something like that. That's no good either. That's wrong. It's stupid. It's divisive. But it's wrong. So they're all wrong, and it turns me off from all of them, to be quite honest with you. But that's life. That's where we are. That's what we got. And Trump's going to take this thing, folks. We're going to talk about that if I have time, but I'm going to tell you something. Maybe with George Bush's endorsement, though, Ted Cruz is going to come raging back in. I'm going to tell you, if I had a choice, I'd vote for Cruz before I would vote for Trump. I would. Yeah, I understand. But you know what? I'll vote for Trump. I'll vote for anybody. You know why? Because of who's on the other side. Here's what Gary's waiting for. The Freedom Network is waiting to vote for somebody. Can we just get somebody I can vote for as opposed to voting against? That would be nice. Anyway, they have done things in Iran now with their missiles, with their cyber attacks. They've come into the United States with cyber attacks. You think Iran can get into a phone? I bet you they can. Jeez. All right. So they're really putting your money to good use that they gave them, aren't they? I mean, really, you've given them so much money, and they are really putting it to good use. They're using it to work against you, to defeat you. This is what the government is doing. I don't care about your excuses as to why and this and that. Let's live in real world. I'm Gary. Here I am in my town. I have my family. I want everything done to protect them, and I don't have to give up all my civil liberties to have protection. If we led from the front, not from behind, if we had an actual leader, somebody that people may be a little trigger shy against, maybe we wouldn't be so screwed up at this time. So what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? We gave them all this money. Thank you, Kerry. Thank you, Obama. You guys, great job. And Hillary supporting things like that. Please, these people are out of their flipping minds. All right, Obama, as we learned, ended the Cold War with Cuba. This is his biggest accomplishment, folks, of his entire presidency. I mean, he says that with more trade and travel and exposing them to our ways, they will want to be free. Well, newsflash, Obama, but, you know, mankind wants to be free. All of it does, I think, except maybe a few pockets. And we were there. I mean, we were there big time, Mr. President. Cuba was Americanized to the point that their vehicles, their food, their hotel, it was all America. That's what it was. You could have almost made it a state or a territory. But what happened? Look at what happened. It fell to communism. Why? Because of who we were supporting and all that. I get it. I know it. You know it. We don't have to go there. But if just being there meant that everything would be great and everyone would sing Kumbaya and the people would be free, they never would have become communists in the first place. So to me, that I don't get it. Look at China. Is China still communist? Yes. Is China still crazy? Yes. Are they hostile to us? Yes. As a matter of fact, they use monetary weaponry against us on a daily basis. So what? I can go to China tomorrow if I want to. Why are they not? Why isn't it working there? Now, I will tell you, I'm okay with normal relations with any country that the people are free in. If the people are not free, we shouldn't be giving money or supporting the governments or trading with them or anything. We should pull America off the market if you don't treat your people with some good degree of freedom. And those that don't get that, why do you support people that oppress others? They take your money and they use it to oppress other people. Why do you allow that to happen? Why? Why do you allow it? All right, let's get some delegate counts going on here. All right. Okay, so let's look at the Democrats. Clinton has got 1,690 delegates. And Sanders has got himself 946. Now, pledged delegates, that number changes a little bit. It's a much closer race. 1,223 to 920. Clinton on top. Well, how so, Gary? How can this be? Well, that's because we got the super delegates, and we'll add some of those in. Well, how many? How about 467 already pledged to Clinton with only 26 pledged to Sanders? So if we were to take and do the math, we would realize that this is a little bit of a horse race. She's pulling away. She's supposed to pull away. But they will not have him as the... It just won't happen. It's not going to happen, folks. Don't even think it's going to, because it won't. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Bernie Sanders will not be the nominee. He will not make it. He would never have made it. It doesn't matter what happened. They would have done what the Republicans will probably do, broker the convention, anything that they needed to do, because it's not going to happen. It's not. I am no Sanders fan. As a matter of fact, he scares the you-know-what out of me. He's a socialist, first of all, and I'm not into that. People have died by the millions under socialism and what then it leads to, which is communism. Socialism doesn't work. You cannot steal everybody's money. There is not an endless supply of money. They can continue to print it, but if no one is making it and no one is paying taxes, eventually what happens is the top 1% goes from people that are worth billions and hundreds of billions to people that are worth just single billions, to people that are worth hundreds of millions, to people that are worth just millions, to people that are worth hundred thousands, to people that are just worth 800,000. And before you know it, by the time your 10-year-old kid grows up and he's 55 years old, he's the top 1% and he makes $150,000 a year. Go socialism. I don't think so. Not for me. But I will tell you, if I had to pick between Clinton and Sanders, if that was the only choice, I would vote for Sanders over Clinton. Clinton's the worst. She's the worst. She is the them. She is the NWO, everything so many I know of my viewers fear, and I, to a degree, also fear these things. You can see that there is one. There is clearly a move for global government, global control. It's obvious where they feel their battlefronts are. They keep attacking them, and they're not going to stop until they can try to get what they want. But we can curb the Second Amendment. Don't worry, the government will take care of you. Okay, so let's look at the other side now. The other side is going to tell us the delegate results. Oh, and before I go on, I'll tell you, 2,383 are needed for the nomination. There's still 2,100 delegates out there. The problem is, folks, if you're a Sanders supporter, is it's not going to happen because it's a foregone conclusion that it's not going to happen. They're going to pad in these delegates. Then no one's going to switch. I'm going to tell you, I may be way out on a limb here, and I hope I'm wrong. Have you ever wanted to be wrong? Because right now I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong about this. This would bring me no greater pleasure than to see Clinton sent packing and just see you later, okay? Goodbye. Get out. We're done with both of you now. See you later. You've screwed us up. Enough. It's enough of the Clintons. It's enough of the Bushes. It's enough of all of these people. We do need some new blood in there. So, yeah, this is a crazy time to be into politics, I'll tell you that. Anyway, there's plenty of meat out there, but unfortunately, I'm not going to even pretend to think that he has a chance. It was already concluded. 1,237 delegates will be needed in the Republican race. See, this is so crazy. These parties, folks, have you coming and going, and me the same, and all of us. This is the system that we've allowed to be created. These parties are so powerful that they may not even go with either vote on either side. Think about that. Both parties saying, well, we know you're voting this way, but we're going to do this, and we know you're voting this way, but we're going to do this. How you doing? Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Anyway, Trump's got 739, Cruz has 465, and Kasich has 143. What is he doing in the race? What is he? You know what he's doing? I'll tell you what he's like he's on a job search. That's what he is. He's trying to hang around to show he's relevant. He thinks that if you don't have Ohio, you can't win the United States presidency. So he's hanging on. I'm going to tell you something. I don't mind him. He's not that bad. He ain't that great. None of them are great. None of them are even really good. But there's some that are better than others. Again, I'm voting against the ticket, not for the other ticket. I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? You know, I had a, let me see how messed up I'm going to make this if I was to do this. Oh, that was not a good thing to do, Gary. But hang on a second. Here we go. Did I not have some quotes I wanted to share? I'm pretty sure that I did. You know, this is what I say about technology. Look, see, I fixed it. I got this. We only got a few minutes left. That's why I'm just trying to get down here and see. I'm trying to get down, you see. And I had some great quotes from James Madison. Where they went, I do not know. I just don't know, unfortunately. What can you do? Hang on. I found them. Look at this. This is technology. All right, here's a couple of good ones. Ready? Do not separate. Do you know who Madison is? If you don't know who James Madison is and you haven't spent at least an hour reading things that he has written, among them maybe you could check out the Constitution, but he's got lots of writings in the Federalist Papers and other places that you can find. What an unbelievably inspiring just way of looking at freedom and representative government as opposed to a direct democracy. Just fascinating stuff. Do not separate text from historical background. If you do, you will have perverted and subverted the Constitution, which can only end in a distorted, bastardized form of illegitimate government. He had a few. The essence of government is power, and power, lodged as it must be in human hands, will ever be liable to abuse. Americans have the right and advantage of being armed, unlike the citizens of other countries whose governments are afraid to trust the people with arms. I mean, this guy was, you want to talk about a guy that was spot on, politically spot on. As people, I get it. I already see the emails coming in. Yes, there was slavery. Yes, they were idiots for it. Morons, incompetent about it. But I'm going to tell you something. I can't change the past, and I can't change the global mindset at the time. I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. But I can look at what they built here, and I can apply it to everybody, and I can have a pretty damn good place to live. The purpose of separation of church and state is to keep forever from these shores the ceaseless strife that has soaked the soil of Europe with blood for centuries. What do you think the separation of church and state means? How have you used it and turned it and twisted it to suit your good? That's what the guy says it means. Why do you have to interpret it? Oh, let me get one more. Let me find one more. A pure democracy is a society consisting of a small number of citizens who assemble and administer the government in person. As long as the reason of man continues fallible and he is at liberty to exercise it, different opinions will be formed. Hey, just great things. Just great things that come out. We'll do these quotes from now and then. Just a lot of good stuff that comes out of it. Folks, we're running rapidly out of time here on the Freedom Network. I do want to thank you. We have a lot of emails, and I can't get to them all now on the air, but I'll reply to you. I want to thank you. It's a crazy journey that we've been on together for a long time. Some of you have been here since the beginning, and I appreciate it, and some are new, and some are mid, and I appreciate you all. It's the Freedom Network. My name is Gary Rosenberg. The mission? Information distribution. No political correctness, and making sure that freedom is the first and only priority of the United States government. Thank you very much. I will see you next week.
Oh, say, does that start? I know